Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. I'm your host, Nate Weitzer, flying solo one more day here on Monday after Thanksgiving. Josh dealing with a little bit of travel issues on Thanksgiving, as so many people are these days. But, we're still going to have actually 5 picks for you today, going 3 player props, bring you 1 extra to make up for the absence of my co-host. Got 2 best bets that I feel pretty good about here on a Monday with a ton of back-to-backs, 5 back-to-back for the squads here today. 9 games total on this Monday slate. And we begin with the grossest one on the slate. We have Charlotte at Brooklyn. But I think this is a good angle in terms of Con Knippel's points prop is only 16.5, and you can even go down from that, take Charlotte to win. And then you're at plus 130. And I think Charlotte minus 4.5 is not a bad look. I don't really understand why the Nets are getting any respect. I guess Michael Porter Jr. coming back is supposed to be a help, but that could just throw a wrench in whatever they've been doing in terms of sharing the ball and playing team defense. When MPJ just wants to get his shots up, if he's cold against a Charlotte defense that's suddenly been much better on the perimeter with Brandon Miller back, that's actually been elite guarding the 3-point line in their last few, and that's led to back-to-back wins against quality opponents, Chicago and Toronto. If they can guard Porter Jr. on the perimeter, I don't know where else the Nets are generating offense, and their defense is obviously terrible. They're second worst guarding the 3, third worst at the rim, worst overall field goal percentage. So you look at Con Knippel, we had this theory that he's going to struggle a little bit against athletic teams, and it's happened at times. I mean, lately he's been getting it against everybody. But if you do filter out just non-playoff teams in his last 5, he's averaging 23.6 points per game against non-playoff teams, and only 11 in his NBA debut against Brooklyn. He only shot the ball 6 times, 3 for 4 from 3. So obviously the efficiency was not an issue. It was the volume. The volume has been there in spades since LaMelo Ball missed time. Con kind of spread his wings. Now LaMelo's back, but, kind of dogging it at times. He's got the official trade request in, so it's not as much of the balls in LaMelo's hands at all times. And honestly, Con was doing very well with LaMelo setting him up early in the season because he's such a great spot-up shooter. Brooklyn's so bad against the spot-up that I think he's hitting enough threes to get you to this 15 points, and he can also attack the basket. Really, the only time he hasn't gotten this lately, he just went ice cold from 3, 2 for 16 in back-to-back games against Chicago and the Knickerbockers, which I would include as one of those athletic wing teams that gave him a little bit of trouble, guys who can fly out on the perimeter. The Nets, I mean, they have athletes, but they just don't have disciplined, true NBA caliber players, I'd say, and MPJ could be thrown into that if that is the cross match we get. MPJ on Con Knippel. I think, the pump and go will be there, as well as just the spot up against a bad overall defense. Nuggets at home against the Mavs, and Nuggets have actually lost 3 straight at home, which is pretty stunning. But they have won the first half in all 3 of those, and so that's where I kind of get to my angle here. I like Nuggets minus 6.5 in the first half as an option, but I think they can lead wire to wire. So it either comes out as wire to wire or leads all quarter after every quarter, and you're getting a pretty good number on that in terms of, will Denver come out and win the first quarter? I think so. I mean, they've been very good at home in general. The first 5 this season, they went 5-0. They won by 16 points a game. Now they're dealing with a little bit of injuries and no Aaron Gordon, no Christian Brown, but they're still a lot better than this Mavs team, which is going to be missing Lively and Daniel Gafford tonight. And PJ Washington's even questionable. And so you slide AD over to the 5, where he's been absolutely brutalized by Jokic in his career. When he has to guard him one-on-one, he just cannot hold up. I mean, his individual defense wasn't very good at all against the Lakers. When he came back on Saturday, he was clearly concentrating on trying to get his numbers. He only played 28 minutes. He had a 133 defensive rating. The Mavs as a team, 137. And the Lakers shot 59 and 51%, just getting anything they want playing through Luka. Now Nuggets are just going to play through Jokic. I think that builds them an early lead. And I don't see this Mavs team as one to really storm back. Their second half numbers have been okay lately. It depends on the competition, though. Like we're talking like Grizz and Clippers, teams that are not the same type of wagon as the Denver Nuggets, who are the second best team in terms of net rating in the second half. They're also third best in the first half. They haven't closed the deal at home lately. That really the stunning one against the Kings. The Spurs are, of course, very good and stunning against the Bulls that they collapsed in those. But that's an internal discussion, right? It's just like, we got to play the full game here. Close this thing out against a Mavs team that just like I don't trust their offense. Like initially, I was looking at the over for this game, 233 where it opened, and it's rising and rising. And now the Nuggets team total is even approaching like 125. So you can't even say I trust the Nuggets, don't trust the Mavs offense necessarily. But I think this is a way to just say I trust the Nuggets overall to start hot and to put them to bed. I mean, this Mavs team, they have AD on the trading block, they have Clay on the trading block, they have these young replacement level guards doing what they can to make their NBA hay, but they just don't have a ton of offensive weaponry to match what the Nuggets can do. The Nuggets defense has been vulnerable without AG and Brown. The 126 defensive rating over their last 5. They are 4-1 to the over in that span, and they're giving up a lot at the rim. That being said, I just don't think the Mavs have enough experience together with AD. Like we're only talking like 4.5 games at this point, as far as how to play off him, use him, utilize him to generate good offense. And it could be a little clunky at times. And on the other end, you have the best offensive creator in Jokic at home, in Denver, where they tend to score 120 in their sleep. Moving over to player props, Ryan Rollins. Did we forget about this man? And I mean, you have to go 25.5 PRA if you want to take the whole bundle, but let's just trust the peripherals with Giannis back, with Kevin Porter Jr. back. The playing time is still going to be there. The question is the usage rate that's dropped to like 16% in his last 2. Is that going to continue? Possibly. I mean, we are playing the Wizards here if you're Milwaukee. So Giannis is probable, but he played 19 minutes against Brooklyn, and then they yanked him and were like, all right, we can handle this without you. So I wouldn't chase Giannis props based on that limited amount of playing time. KPJ also only 25 minutes in his return, should be eased back into a degree. KPJ, by the way, did get these 10 peripheral stats in just 25 minutes. And while Rollins has seen a downtick since Giannis came back here in these last 2, we're still talking 5 dimes, 3.5 rebounds, and still talking 36 minutes per game. And the potential assists are actually up a tiny tick with Giannis back. 12 potential assists per game in these 2. He was at 11 in the previous 10. And hit this RA in 8 of those 10. So very good hit rate. Even more raw passes, just 67 with Giannis back. So he's still the point guard, even with KPJ playing in one of those games. KPJ playing off ball more. Rollins has earned the right to run this offense. The dimes are pretty good, and the rebounds are good against Washington because they tend to miss a lot of shots, give up the most raw rebounds per game. They allow the most everything to point guards in terms of raw PRA, points per game to the point guard. So I trust Rollins to get you there with the rebounds and or assists. I would lean towards just the assist if that's what we're looking to isolate one prop. Norman Powell, Miami hosting the Clippers, and this is a revenge spot for Powell. It lines up pretty nicely in terms of the matchup, especially if Jaime Jaquez misses a second straight game. He's only missed, he missed his first game of the season on Saturday, and Norm went for 28 on 27% usage. Andrew Wiggins also 31 in that game. So big void left by Jaquez, who leads the team in drives. And even with Tyler Hero back, has been the best slasher scorer for a high-paced Heat team. And Wiggins is also questionable with a hip flexor strain. Norm is on the injury report with a little bit of illness, but I will take Norm. The Heat just put everybody on the injury report. So I will trust Norm to be healthier here than the hip flexor strain for Wiggins, if that's a concern. I mean, but the offense is still run through Norman Powell this year. A little bit of a step back to integrate Hero in his return. This matchup, however, like with no Derek Jones Jr., there's no wing stopper for the Clippers. And you do have, though, Chris Dunn, who's a perimeter stopper, to check Hero all night. And you have Zubac to bang with Bam, maybe less of a hub there. So maybe they're playing more through Norm, who can get switches onto Harden, Kawhi in his minutes limit, John Collins, who's just been a mess, or some of these guys off the Clippers bench. There's just not a lot to scare you about this Clippers defense. It is clearly bottom 10. They're a bottom 10 team at this point. Norm should have a little bit of extra motivation to be like, oh yeah, you thought you didn't need me, huh? You thought you could let me walk, and now your team is absolute garbage. Check out what we got going on in Miami. Wouldn't hate, parlaying Norm 20 points with the Heat to win based on that narrative, because I don't think we trust the Clippers to beat anybody right now on the road. I mean, they've had a pretty brutal travel schedule as well to consider, as far as, yeah, when will they get this thing right to any sort of degree? Probably not in Miami. After James Harden, hits the South Beach bars the night before or after. So yeah, let's make that an official play there on top of that. Norm 20 plus and the Heat to win. Last play, Jalen Tyson, 16 and a half points in rebounds. And I believe it's 11 and a half points you can go with if you just want the scoring. He's going to get a lot of run tonight. Darius Garland's going to be out, back-to-back set for the Cavs. Jaron Allen is going to be doubtful, probably out. Also, Larry Nance is out. Craig Porter Jr. even is questionable, and Dean Wade banged up. I mean, we haven't seen the official injury report as of Monday morning here, but those are the projected situations for the Cavs, and that means Tyson is a projected starter. And in 10 starts this season, he's averaged 13 and 5. He's only played 27 minutes a game, but you look at the last back-to-back for Tyson, he played 34 minutes and went for 14 and 9 against Toronto. In 5 since returning from his concussion, he's averaged 18 PR, so right consistent with what he gets as a starter. Only 17% usage. So you don't necessarily think like, wow, I'm banking on like this huge volume role. It's just being out on the floor and playing off Donnie Mitchell, who's going to compromise this Pacers defense as he does very, very often. I mean, Donnie with the assists is definitely a look here. And Donnie's setting up Tyson for these wide open corner threes. He's shooting 47% on threes, taking a team high 3.5 corner threes per game is Tyson since returning. So he's playing off Donnie very well. He can also, pump and attack the basket. And Indy is terrible guarding the rim. I don't expect that to change. He did drop 14, 8, and 3 as a starter in just 27 minutes against the Indiana Pacers a couple weeks ago. So it seems like a relatively low number given the situation, given the fact that he should be out there for 30 plus minutes in his starter's role. So that is all the time we have for you here today, Monday's NBA show. Like and subscribe to the page. We'll be back each and every weekday coming forward, and Josh should be back with me for Tuesday's bigger slate here on December 2nd. And until we see you next, happy betting.